This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Ever notice how life's best stories don't happen in your living room? They happen on the open road, out on the water, or parked under the stars. At Progressive, they get that you want to focus on the experience, not worry about the what-ifs. That's why they offer quality insurance designed for your ride, whether that's a boat, RV, or motorcycle. Adventure with confidence. Visit Progressive.com and see how easy it is to protect your favorite way to get away. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in D.C. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Good afternoon, Leigh.
Hello.
How are we?
Dear listener, Fi has gotten the brief update before we started recording, but just as a brief caveat to today's episode, I am unspooling. I have gone to the zoo. There is a heat wave in London right now, and I am quite mentally unwell.
It's a heady combo, I would say, of being tender to the world and our experience within it, and then also it being over 30 degrees in a country that is only that because of global warming.
I know that people really struggle with things like, you know, seasonal affective disorder and things like that. But I thrive in drizzle. I really do. In a kind of like light jacket weather scenario. I never do well when it's this hot outside.
Leigh, may I speak freely? I think it's just because you're Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I wasn't built for this.
No, I am historically DNA-ly just a bog person. And I'm not supposed to be hot. I'm supposed to be mild, damp, and sort of preferably in a kind of bracing breeze. So this is not
weather that my aunties would say would blow the cobwebs out.
I love it.
That's where I thrive.
I love it. I'm currently sat in my bra and a pair of workout shorts. Obviously in a room that has all of the windows and doors closed in order to do the record. And I can just feel the sweat dripping down my arms.
Yeah.
So this is fine. And I know we should have air conditioning in the UK, but we don't, and our houses weren't built for weather like this.
No.
So just let me complain. And
My
you know
house is a Victorian house. It wasn't built for heat waves. They didn't exist in the Victorian era.
And Leigh, am I drinking a cup of scalding hot tea? Yes, I am. Because that's what I want. And I don't want to be told that there's a better way to cool down, because I also want to complain.
But isn't that what they do in India? Is they drink hot drinks to actually cool the body? That's why chai exists, surely.
Sure, well, there's got to be a theory behind it. Smart people.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we're quite frazzled coming to this particular episode of The West Wing.
We are. And I'm sorry, dear listeners. I know that there's been a couple of episodes that have been not uploaded at the usual time. They've been uploaded slightly later on a Thursday when we release new episodes. But it is because I am having a slight mental health moment. And when one is in the midst of a slight mental health moment, one's to-do list is very difficult to kind of conceptualize in a physical manner or kind of keep held within the brain. So I do apologize. We are back in therapy, so hopefully this will be worked through in the immediate future.
And in a deeply unhelpful chain of events, I decided whilst Leigh was going through one of the hardest chapters of her life to move house. So I've been sort of deeply unavailable / living in boxes / I've moved back in with my parents. And that's
with a husband, though. With a husband, with hubby in tow.
That adds a whole different.
It is a new dimension.
It.
It's kind of
We're all adjusting, is what I'll say is happening right now. So yeah, fun to be back in the childhood bedroom. Very odd. But I think I'd like to escape to Washington,
to
D.C.
a cold, cold January day.
Please. Ooh. Yes, thank you. Welcome back, dear listeners, to Queer Gals Watch the West Wing with myself, Fee, and the lovely Leigh Douglas.
Hello.
We are here discussing Season 4, Episode 14 of The West Wing, Inauguration, Part 1.
Part 1.
We love a mid-season two-parter, Leigh. What a
Yeah.
treat.
Beautiful.
What a treat.
Yeah, it always gives a little chill down the spine when you see the little to be continued.
Honestly, that ellipses, chef's kiss. And I do think, having had a little sabbatical last week, Aaron's here and ready to go from
He
moment
came
one.
back roaring. He came back reinvigorated.
The guy had I'm going to assume a sort of Sam Seaborn-esque holiday where he actually just slept on the floor of his office. But he's refreshed and ready to go. I'm going to dive into the recap.
Please do.
The previously on is very much shades of Will Bailey, Donna and Jack Reese, and then just a sprinkling of CJ trying to quash the Kumari storyline with Danny Concannon. But we arrive in this episode in DC, baby.
We
And
are
it's-
in the capital. Strap in. It is Inauguration Day.
Isn't it nice for it to be an inauguration day and to be like, I'm excited to see what might happen because it'll probably be nice and fun and there probably won't be violence.
I'm excited to see J-Lo sing.
Oh, happy day. Now we're bustling down a hallway with the lovely Jed Bartlett and his kind of security detail.
Yes, I'm like staffers or / security. There, just to note, there is a new either female Secret Service agent or new female staffer that we've not seen before who's just kind of in the background of the entourage. But I wanted to make note of her.
I will say she was giving Secret Service agent. to
The
me.
stride.
Yeah. We bump into CJ. She looks amazing.
Lovely black wool coat. A necklace that I don't hate for 2003.
Yeah.
Gorge hair. She looks so glam.
Like a lovely bouncy blowout.
Yeah, it's
but not
gorge.
too much.
Yeah.
Not too much volume. We get a lovely little sign off from his security detail and staffers with a few knock 'em dead, sirs.
Game on, sir.
It's very cute from his team. I
Very
feel.
cute, yeah.
Then there's some chat about the fact that there's 8 different inauguration balls.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care that much. But what I did care about was the fact that Abby is going to have 8 different looks.
Mm.
So it's a lot for her glam team, a lot for a stylist there.
Is it definitely 8 different looks? Or do they just go from ball to ball?
But they're around the country, are they not?
No, it's like the Pacific Northwest representation have their one. But
Okay, this is great. Because I was like, that's kind of crazy that he's just flying around, going and being like, yeah, I got inaugurated. I thought that's very Flash. But no, he's just going about DC
yes,
on one night.
Yes.
That makes so much more sense. Do you know what, Leigh? It's been a little while since I've had a really dumb moment on this, where I've had absolutely zero kind of concept of what we're discussing. Do you know what? I'm so glad I've learned that.
No,
Thank
I
you.
can see where I can see how you got there.
Mm-hmm. What I do like, and I would like to discuss, is this sign off from CJ to Jed Bartlett.
Eat 'em up, Chief.
Thank you, Claudia. That is 2 very short lines of dialogue that together are perfection.
And I think together show us just how far Claudia Jean and Jed's relationship has come.
From her trying to resign and him being like, no.
Yeah. And from the team kind of having to give her a little bit of a pep talk that she needs to be able to talk back to the president and take on the president when she disagrees with him. They're so collegial these days.
Yeah.
What I will say is immediate alarm bells for me, because it's the second inaugural address, which Toby has been stressed about, I'm going to say this entire season, for weeks. It has apparently, quote, changed a lot overnight.
Rough.
Has also been leaked.
Rough.
Josh is surprisingly calm. He's
Also
not shouting.
rough.
I imagine Toby is less so, but where is Toby?
It's always worrying when people are talking about someone being stressed and that person is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Josh then says, well, you're about to propose the most massive shift in foreign policy since the Marshall Plan, and it's going to be wildly unpopular. What are we doing, gang? Are we going to war? What's going on?
I kind of was really stumped by this, and then again had quite a sort of thick moment where I was like, what? Is this about the education thing? And Toby and the dads? And then I was like, well, why would it be that when he's saying foreign policy? And then I went to the same place as you, and I was like, oh, has Danny's story come out and now we like might be going to war with Kumar? Let's just wait and see how this one pans out, shall we? Shall I tell you the lovely side quest that goes on in this episode?
Yes, please.
It's Bible-based. Jed wants a particular Bible to be sworn in on. Very on brand, personally.
Nothing has ever been more on brand for a character.
And I love that Charlie is the one that's like, it's the knives all over again. Charlie is the getter of things.
Yes.
The searcher, the seeker, the finder. Josh Lyman's like, look, I don't know why it really matters whether it's like a random Bible that's from like the library across the road or whatever, because you could get sworn in on anything. It doesn't even need to be a religious book. You could get sworn in on a copy of the Sports Illustrated swimwear edition.
Why am I charmed? Why do I not hate it?
Do you know what? When he said that, I was so ready to like dive onto my keyboard and be like, who does Joshua Lyman think he is? And then I've just felt completely the same. There was a wry smile and there was a wry smile from Jed, which was both of them being like, we do love that magazine, but we're classy guys. Like they pulled it off collectively.
Yeah. It's just something about it that I'm like, you little rogue, you. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm sorry.
There's smoke and mirrors in this episode. Leo turns up. He compliments Josh's suit.
Leo is riding high.
Like, I've never heard Leo compliment on anyone's kind of physical appearance or well-being ever.
Yeah. He's also himself in a little pink shirt.
Do we feel like having a girlfriend is suiting him?
I think that him and Geordie planned his inauguration outfit together. I think she was like, may I suggest a pop of colour?
And that she'll be at the ball later as his date.
And he was like, do I? And do I dare? And she was like, I think you dare.
Oh, that's really nice. I think he'd be like, Jenny never loved me in colours. And then I think you and I were both very stressed. It's part one of many in this episode.
Jack Reese hasn't gone to Mandyland. He's actually being written out.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we're going to see him again.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. If the rumors we heard are true, I'm obsessed that while other actors have been given the dignity of kind of escaping the West Wing's consciousness, that specifically with Jack Reese, Aaron was like, no, to make it clear he has left.
We are just sending him away. So at this point, I was like, has Nancy moved him elsewhere or has he messed up? We're unclear. And then Josh is like, I can't find her. She's not coming. Who is she?
How could who do what? Who is she, the cat's mother? What are we discussing here?
And I was like, surely not Abby, Donna, or Nancy?
Zoe?
Like, and then I'm just going to bench this because
we know it's not CJ because we've seen CJ.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted search for a woman and confusion about what may or may not have happened to her. To Toby.
He's still not arrived on screen. I was just concerned about him and his lack of presence.
Lee's just put in this shared doc. Toby must be so unwell. I'm worried about him.
Yes, and then I clock back in with what's actually happening on screen and I go, are we talking about Donna?
Full stream of consciousness. We have some lovely, witty moments with a sort of bouncing Leo as he traverses through a room morning of inauguration.
My favorite joke that Leo McGarry has ever made. The president is nothing if not contemplative, Senator. The man makes the Prince of Denmark seem reactionary. Just a little Hamlet joke.
It's very good, Aaron. And you know what? Leigh said this may be the best joke Aaron's ever written.
Yeah.
And I would like to co-sign that.
Clearly revived from his week off, guns a-blazing.
Then he kind of bumps into a congressman, I believe. And the congressman's like, the hill's going crazy.
That's a refreshing change of pace.
Zing, 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 zing. And he's just like batting these people away from him because these men elderly men keep coming up to him and being like, we're unhappy. And he's just like, there's punch over there. Go get yourself a cheese plate.
Just getting out of conversations he doesn't want to be in by directing people to the refreshments is incredible.
It's very like maid of honor at the wedding.
Oh my God, yes, it is.
Like the bride is busy and she has a schedule.
In ways is Leo's role on Inauguration Day.
Yeah. Because he is kind of like marrying America.
Yeah, to Jed Bartlett.
Jed Bartlett is getting married to America. That's what I understand being president to be. Charlie returns with a Bible. It doesn't feel like the right Bible. And I fear that this storyline is going to be like the tie thing.
Oh,
when
yes.
the lucky tie.
Yeah.
And listener, that prediction may have been correct. We shall see later on. And then a really fun smash to credits with a character stepping in and we're just in an over-the-shoulder shot. Like we don't see their face. And the character goes, Mr. President.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Mr. Chief Justice. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get inaugurated.
Yeah. An action-packed opening sequence.
Absolutely.
And then we're 7 days prior. Classic Aaron flashback.
Love asbestos getting a mensch.
Shout out asbestos.
Also trochaic tetrameter. Haven't thought about her since university.
So I would like to raise a thought, and that would be that Aaron Sorkin at one point obviously was at college. I assume he's a college guy. And that he would have done quite a significant amount of studying of English language and English literature. And I just feel like he was like, wow, people maybe don't know that I know a lot about poetry. And so I'm going to talk quite a lot about poetry and like poetry structure and format and like, what do you call it? Rhythm.
So
poetry rhythm.
I've just given it a Google. Aaron Sorkin majored in musical theatre at Syracuse University.
I love him. He's one of us. Leigh, he's one of us.
He is.
He is ours.
He is. But also, what I would like to raise you is I think that Aaron Sorkin might have quite recently gone on a trip to London and visited the Globe for the first time and been stood in the Globe saying to himself, I am in many ways the modern day Shakespeare.
Modern Shakespeare. He's just there like full American in London. And I say that with the utmost respect.
We love you guys.
Love it. We love it when you come here. It's
You're just
really
so
exciting.
Enthused about everything that we've forgotten exists in the city where we live.
And just like stood in the pit at the Globe and he's like got himself an orange. And he's like, yes, I can feel the history.
I could write a sonnet.
And I feel like he did on the plane on the way home, Leigh.
Yeah,
and he was quite pleased with it and kept it in one of his favourite notebooks. Because he strikes me as a man with many notebooks.
Agreed.
Anyway, I'm utterly digressing in quite actually disruptive manner. This is what was written in all of my school reports, which is like she's not disrupting in a way that's like distracting in a bad way or upsetting other children. She's just taking us wildly off topic and it's just inappropriate and disrespectful.
Oh my God. But Will is being given a side quest also?
Yes. And specifically with the State Department, which feels like part of the hazing that he has been given up to this point.
We are absolutely reading the State Department for filth in this episode.
Truly, it's very like the West Wing v. the State Department.
Yeah.
Then just going back to this trochaic tetrameter, this is with reference to the Chief Justice and Toby raising to Leo and Jed that the Chief Justice has started to kind of give memos and notes in rhyme, leading both those lads to kind of have a conversation about the mental wellness of the Chief Justice. And they use a phrase that is actually perfection, which is, I think Jed says, "Do you think he's stayed too long at the fair?"
It's so brilliant.
I love this as a turn of phrase for someone who maybe needs to like move on to a different job role or like retire from an industry. Like they've stayed too long at the fair and now they've kind of lost themselves. They have become one with the fairground. They don't know of the world outside the fairground.
Yeah.
Love it. So the Bible storyline, the Bible that Jed wanted, which is the Washington Bible, I want to say.
Yes.
It is kept in New York with the Freemasons.
Obsessed.
And obviously I was like, I feel that Jed will have beef with the Freemasons at some point. And then he was like, oh, we could just use the Bartlett Bible, which I think is a very funny thing to say.
Yes. I would like to start referring to things in my family as the Douglas blank.
Yes. And actually people aren't doing that enough about things. So that's my homework for you all, dear listeners. What thing in your family would be the such and such thing? Because we all have one, you know, there's the thing in every family.
Yeah.
Now, Will Bailey and Jed Bartlett, famously, Will is very much in the state of kind of being overwhelmed, overexcited, a bit nauseous around Jed, do we feel?
He's also a temp currently, so he doesn't want to get himself too familiar or comfortable. It's not gone incredibly when he's met Jed previously.
And this particular interaction, he is responding to some notes. And basically what he's saying to Jed is, when I'm writing for someone, I kind of need to like be in them. Like I need to understand their turns of phrase, like the way that they feel, the way that they think.
Where they like their commas, etc.
Which I love, frankly.
I love it. Being able to be like, I have to be able to like learn your cadence. It's very inside the actor's studio from Will Bailey.
It's actually kind of gorgeous and makes me really love him. But I love that Jed, I'm very much a fan of the fact that Jed's reaction is, I don't remember your name, but are you asking me out on a date?
It's incredible, yeah.
Because like, way to make a man feel like a silly Billy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's his like very jovial way of saying, I think you're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be.
And I do feel like saying that in a joking way is probably the best way to kind of get through to sweet young William. I would like to give Charlie some flowers for as soon as Will leaves the Oval being like, can I have everything that Jed's ever written?
Yeah.
And Charlie, without even looking up from his desk, is like, of course I will provide you with what you need without question. Thank you, Charlie Young. But to Donna and Josh, and hopefully some answers of some kind. You know what Jack will be wearing? A saber.
God, Donna, please tell me that's not the only thing he'll be wearing. This was the point where I was like, oh my God, is Jack Reese dead?
Oh, so you thought she was talking about they're going to dress him for his funeral?
No, not at this point. I thought that in the time between this conversation where she's talking about him getting dressed up.
Oh, is that
and
we
Inauguration
lose
Day?
him?
I was like, he has been sent to Kumar.
Oh, shit. Okay,
And been
now that
lost.
makes sense. I was like, no, I think she's talking about what he's going to wear to the inauguration. And then Donna lists like all of the medals and like accolades that he has in like a really kind of like fuck you way to Josh. It's like her tone is very fuck you, right?
Listing Jack Reese's accolades to her boss is insane. We've reached new levels of preposterous in this relationship. She does also list amongst his accolades a Purple Heart, which I'm fairly sure you can only get if you die in battle.
No, it's if you have suffered an injury of any kind.
Oh, fine. There's something else that you
In
can
the
only
active
get.
service.
There's something else you can only get if you die.
Like a posthumous medal. I think you're right, but I cannot recall what it is. Do you want to go to a luncheon, a sort of religious luncheon?
Please.
It's just a room full of religious leaders of some kind and Jed Bartlett. And I was like, I love that we haven't said where we are. And to me as an outsider, I'm like, do you think he just asks them round?
It felt like it was kind of like a pray together multi-faith for the next term.
Oh, well, either way, it did seem like a really nice vibe in there. And just seemed to be a lot of, men. But, but a lot of men just like kind of talking quite plainly with one another. And I enjoyed that.
I'm sorry, just a brief moment. I was just fact-checking us in the moment there. And I was correct. The Purple Heart is the only state decoration that can be physically earned by being killed in action.
Really? But I swear that
wounded or killed.
There we go, thank you. Because I think you'll find in Band of Brothers several of the characters. So, while we are at our sort of religious meal,
yes,
we are asked a question. By we, I mean Jed Bartlett is asked about a kind of developing incident in a country called
Kundu.
And it's like this particular religious leader, an archbishop, I believe, is like, what information do you have? And Jed says, I have this much information. And essentially, is like, look, we don't really have much clear intelligence on it, but like, it doesn't, I suppose I could dig around. And this archbishop, who's a black man, is like, and if this situation were happening in a European country rather than an African country, do we feel like we would have clearer intelligence? And just, we are in the year of 2026.
Yeah, it's
that felt very present and very current.
Yes, I mean, we'll get into it, but I think a lot of what's being discussed in this episode with reference to the fictional country of Kundu feels like a lot of the questions that both people in power and kind of everyday citizens are kind of grappling with relationship to Gaza, Iran.
And lots of other places across the globe where huge acts of violence are being carried out, and we as people who live in Western countries perhaps aren't being given a huge amount of information about. And so Aaron is really delving into some quite big social and political kind of moral issues in this episode. And you think about it being aired in early 2002, and you think...
Early 2003, surely.
February 2003, you are correct. Even with it being aired in early 2003, you feel like it's a primetime Emmy award-winning show. Has a huge following when it was first being aired. This is quite like politically minded storylines. I know it's a show about politics, but I don't know that anything this toothy would be made anymore.
Maybe just not in 2026, just because we're just living in, hopefully not a permanent state, but we're living in like a really scary time. It is interesting to me, though, in the context of 9/11 and the Iraq War, which would have started by this point, that this is the storyline that we are exploring.
Yeah, I think so. And talking about the fact that if it is white people in a European country who are kind of living through a period of violence, is that more or less important than people of color? And I think that might have been, a topic that Americans were discussing in terms of the information that was coming out in the media about the war in Iraq.
Yeah.
Are you ready for Bryce?
Yes.
I don't think Will was ready for Bryce. Actually, do you know what? That's unfair. I think he was. Would you like to meet a truly hateful man, Leigh?
I would. I love the kind of telepathic communication that Connie is doing as she's introducing Bryce. She's really honoring Will through this intro. She's really giving a positive energy of it's like she's introducing him, but what she's really saying is, you've got this.
Yeah, like you have everything that you need. And
then the man himself, what I will say is his voice is so commanding. He's like an elfin man. His voice is truly the voice of a Disney villain.
It's very Like evil, power-hungry being.
The son that he gives Will is the most patronizing son I've ever heard.
And that takes gravitas to do that. But I would say that interaction Will handles like an absolute pro because he's so firm on his standpoint. But he also maintains respectability.
Yes.
You know, he always says sir back. He's always very clear that he's like running the party line. And it's, you know, it's a good test in terms of like how he can stand up in rooms with people like that. But it is kind of crazy because obviously this guy is like a big wig from the State Department and he's been sent to speak to the temp.
Yes, this is like a career veteran diplomat. And it was quite triggering hearing him say, the president can't write himself a blank check when it comes to foreign policy, especially this president. I was like, oh, you think that this is a president writing himself a blank check? Interesting.
Ha ha ha.
Interesting.
Because you need to take your mind there, Bryce. Are you rewriting the entire section?
Yes, sir.
Dramatically?
Well, I like to think I have a certain flair.
I meant significantly. Now that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I enjoy that twinkle.
And then the Disney villain exit on, apparently I am not done with the Baileys.
I laughed out loud. I think this is so camp. Where it's like
so camp.
Where it's like, God damn your father and God damn you too. You know, like, I feel like Will and his dad could not be more different people.
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, oh, you're his son. And you can just see Will being like, but like, I didn't like sports and he wanted me to like sports. I liked books and he was like, can't you get your nose out of a book and go and join the cadets?
I wonder if that's like a slight reference to the discussions of fathers and sons that was going on between George W. and his papa.
That's very interesting. I didn't think about that. But I feel that we must move to Toby smoking in his office.
He's smoking indoors, yes.
Which I feel is a red flag. He's also once again using his ball, the rubber ball, to summon people to his office.
But with more force. It looks like he's trying to pitch at a major league game.
Honestly, it's a little bit like, Dad, you're scaring me.
Yeah.
Toby's not happy at all. However, I think this was a real test for his and Will's burgeoning professional relationship because I feel like Sam Seaborn was so good at navigating Toby when Toby was grouchy and emotional. And actually, although Will does it in a very different way to Sam, I do think they're well matched in this moment. Small conjecture on the Bartlett Bible, very quickly. Jed can't use it because it likes to be kept in a certain climate-controlled environment. And Jed's quip back is, just as the disciples intended. Which is such a slay from Jed. I knew this Bible thing would pop off. We'll jump over to a press briefing.
Yes.
Classic, some japes and some chuckles with the press corps. And as we're kind of bustling out, Carol is trying to get CJ's attention.
Stop trying to get us together, okay? If I wanted Danny, I could have him, and he's still a jackass from the foreign ops vote and many other things. So tell him I'm getting my hair done.
And he's like behind, like he's physically stood directly behind Carol.
Yeah.
And that's another classic kind of like, hey, Alison Janney, I'm just going to pitch this to you and she's just going to hit a home run with it.
Every time.
Now,
her necklace.
We knew this would happen, Leigh. We knew it was coming for her.
We did.
Because so many professional women were like, I can wear the same skirt suit, I can swap out the blouse, and I can just have 10 to 12 chunky necklaces.
Statement necklaces.
Beads, big chunky beads. It's like a massive bead and then other statement beads.
It's very Miranda Hobbs. It's coming for CJ Craig in the same way that it came for Miranda Hobbs.
Yeah, it really is. Hi, Bobby. What news? Turns out, not good news from Bobby.
I fear for Jack Reese.
Yeah. So I think it is him that we were discussing at the start. And I feel like this situation that's ongoing, Jed's like, don't leak it. And then I'm like, I feel like because Jed has said don't leak it, someone's going to leak it.
Mm.
And then that makes me feel like, is it Jack that leaks it? But like, to what end? You know?
Small conjecture. Aaron Sorkin has invented 2 fictional countries, Kundu and Kumar. They couldn't have had slightly more different names. It's very confusing.
I just think, do you know what? I would like to know, and maybe that people have kind of researched this, but in terms of like the etymology of the fictionalized countries, of like how he built those names for those countries and why.
Yeah, of like of why that was chosen. Yeah.
Because I'm sure that the internet will provide.
Yeah.
But it's Tuesday. We have some updates on Kundu at the press briefing. So there's a civil war that's broken out, and essentially there's kind of a faction which is undertaking like mass slaughterings of civilians. And truly, like, the news that CJ is imparting in this press briefing is really violent and really distressing. And honestly, like, pretty heartbreaking information. And obviously causing mass chaos and fear beyond understanding in this country. And then Danny stands up and says, is the president going to send in troops and knock this one off? And I just felt like, one, I think that's quite casual vernacular. I know that CJ has this really great relationship with the press corps, and like they do have a kind of collegiate conversational feel sometimes. But actually for me, I was like, that's too familiar. Like that's too like we're in the bar.
Yeah.
Like we're still like in like the press room in the West Wing. Do you know what I mean?
Danny's whole attitude, and I don't know if it's because like my view of the man is coloring this, but like his whole attitude and energy since he's come back has just been like, he feels like he's so above the rest of the press. He's entitled to CJ's time whenever he wants it. He's entitled to cross her boundaries whenever he feels like it. And I know that that's kind of his job as a journalist, but like, there's just an arrogance pouring off him since he's been back that has been really bothersome to me.
Yeah, there's been a real ego shift in his character, and I feel in the way he's been written as well. Whereas before it was a lot of him like leaning in doorways being like, you got a second?
Yeah.
Now it feels like he's just walking in. Now we're going to circle back very briefly to the kind of the moment between Jed and Bobby from intelligence was about putting together kind of a report about if we went into Kundu to be a peacekeeping force in the best way possible, how could we do that? What sort of troops would we need? Like, kind of, could you just like work up some numbers surrounding that?
And also, like, how many people do we think we might lose if we went in?
So like a big picture work. And Bobby was kind of like the man for the job. Like Nancy's guy is Jack Reese. We'll get him to do it. And like he's trustworthy. Now, obviously, this is a deeply secret mission, which is work that Jack Reese would do all the time. However, his girlfriend works at the same place he does.
Yeah.
So cue Donna being like, but Josh, you know what he's up to. Could you just not tell me?
She looks gorge. I'll say that. She's in a gorgeous, like, baby pink jumper, pearl choker necklace. The lip gloss is glossing. But she is also mining her boss for information about her boyfriend's secret military assignment. We must have some boundaries.
And I will say, obviously they are still very much in the honeymoon period.
Yes.
But part of dating a man who works that kind of job is knowing that there's just things you're never going to know.
Yeah.
And being cool with that.
And also, part of dating somebody at work is recognizing that you don't have an automatic right necessarily to have like a window into their work life.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Another Bible update. Charlie's just calmly on this wild goose chase in order for Jed to be happy about a Bible. And I think Leigh sums this up perfectly in our shared doc, which is, Leigh said, I love how little anyone else cares about this Bible apart from Jed. Another little update on the Chief Justice. He is still writing in verse.
Yes.
How do we feel about that in terms of like a man in his role?
I feel it's like the most camp direct action I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I quite frankly
Please,
love...
someone intervene.
Please, I would love any justice in the UK who's been like fighting for trans rights and has come down on a pro-humanity side of the so-called trans debate through all of this. I would just, please, if we have any British justices that are listening, I doubt it, but if you are listening, I dare you to write in verse until they reverse this insane bathroom agenda that they have going on. Please write in verse until it's reversed.
I have nothing but respect for it. And also, I feel like the way it's being discussed by all the characters is also just like they kind of have nothing but a little bit of a twinkle for it too.
Yeah.
But to Toby and Will, and more importantly, Elsie Snuffin.
You're really comfortable going through life with a name like Elsie Snuffin?
I've never been comfortable, but I'm not sure it's because of my name. I love you, Elsie.
Might I just say, I think that's the best Toby Ziegler that I've ever given.
Yeah, it was actually Leigh. Shivers.
Thank you. I love Elsie. I feel she's like our gal in The West Wing, you know?
Now, you know, in like family movies, and it's like the kind of like ragtag kid, and he's like on his little adventure. There's always like a little sister character, and she's always like, "Yeah, if you wanna," like, or like she'll be like, "You'll never get there," or like she'll turn up like in disguise somewhere. Like,
what's Rudy in? Rudy's in something. What is she in? Is it West Side Story? Is it Grease? But she's like the scrappy tomboy little sister in something of that ilk.
It's very that character.
Yeah.
And she's just like somehow in the West Wing. And like kind of just like there in like a doorway, like rolling her eyes and being like, "Oh, brother." And frankly, I'm here for it. And my hope is that it's kind of like Aaron Sorkin's favorite musical is Annie, and he's just like, I kind of just needed like that energy.
Yeah.
Will is very much kind of like cramming all of Jed's past speeches into his brain. And Toby, understandably, is like, could you not just write the one speech that we really need to be written and why I hired you? And also, like, why is your sister here?
And apparently on payroll.
Yeah. To which Elsie says, "The First Lady likes my jokes."
Excellent.
And then there's just sort of kind of like a bit of back and forth of like stress between the two. And the sign off of the scene is this from Toby. "Like Mother Teresa with first strike capability.
Damn right.
You've had too many dinners with Daddy."
Ooh.
You know, I think it's really nice to see Toby in like a dynamic where he's being challenged by this like younger character. Because Aaron's done so well to like set this up differently to Sam Seaborn.
Yes, agreed. It's really a masterstroke that he kind of serves the same role that Sam did as a character.
Yeah.
But it's completely reinvented.
And like, not only is the actor making the character his own, but Aaron is giving him the tools to do that by writing it in such a way. Wednesday, we're creeping towards the inauguration. More Bible business, just very quickly. Jed chose a Bible. The Bible has been delivered. The Bible is so large, it's being carried by 6 people.
It's like the Book of Kells. It's like the first folio. It's just like...
It's huge. And the man who has arrived to present this Bible to Jed is, I'm going to say, rude.
Yeah. Yeah, he lives for this Bible.
Yeah, he's like, "Do you not know about this Bible?" And Jed's like, "Okay, but like, who are you?" And then the man goes, "We've met."
Oh my
Which
God.
honestly it's tough. Look, it's tough when the president doesn't remember you, but there's no need to take a tone.
No.
There's no need to take a tone. We're off to the sit room. Now, Miles.
I hate Miles.
This is once again the State Department kind of, because Miles is from State. Miles is from the Pentagon?
I think he might be from defense, yeah, rather than state.
Miles is... Can you be treasonous in America?
You can, but he's just incredibly rude about the president. I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, he is the president. And the public voted for him with or without military service. So you're going to have to get over it at a certain point.
And essentially, like, so Miles and Leo are in the sit room having this discussion, and it's a really amazingly written argument. Kind of two big, like, heavy hitters facing off. And the fact is, we asked for Jack Reese to put together this kind of dossier, and Miles was like, well, you should have come through me. Like, I don't care if he's Nancy's guy. And then Leo just reads this man for absolute filth. I don't know what you mean when you say that it's acceptable in Kundu. Oh, yeah, I do. And kind of like, you're being fucking racist.
Yeah.
And then Miles just walks out and he says, go to hell.
It was a really lovely go to hell. I really enjoyed it.
Full-chested. It was full-chested. And actually, if you're turning up for the day, Miles, like, if you're going to be in an episode of The West Wing, do it. Go for it, babe. Like, I really endorse it. Fantastic.
Like,
but it was nice to see Leo being like, look, like, you need to check what you're saying because it's not what America stands for.
Yeah. And I just think, like, go to hell. You don't concede any ground in the same way that you do when you tell someone to, like, fuck off or fuck you. Go to hell is like, you retain all of your dignity when you say go to hell.
Yeah.
You don't concede any ground whatsoever. And I love that.
Yeah. You are so right, actually. I think I need to use more go to hell.
Yeah, agreed.
Always worried when Jed's wandering the halls.
It always means that he's having a moral dilemma. He's stressed. There's something he wants to go to confession about, but he can't, so he wanders the halls.
And he finds Will Bailey.
That he does.
And they have a little moment, the two of them, in Will's office. And he poses this question to Will. Because obviously what Will is like, we need to change the inauguration speech because we need to be more clear that we are in support of the Condoleezza people and that we will step in, that America is this peacekeeping force around the globe. And like, we will continue to do that. And basically the gang and the government are like, you can't just say stuff like that. You can't just change foreign policy in a speech. And Jed proffers this. Why is a Condoleezza life worth less to me than an American life?
I don't know, sir, but it is.
And it feels like that's a moment there for Jed, because we know Jed is a lover, not a fighter.
We do. I could feel a let Bartlett be Bartlett moment coming on. And want to know how I knew that? Because of the dramatic intensity of the modern Major General reference.
Yeah. I would like to celebrate and raise up CJ Craig for one moment, if I may. So we have another like one-on-one with Danny.
Ugh. I have such the ick for him. He actively grosses me out now.
I think because we haven't such an issue with the actor.
Yeah.
It is colouring our Danny views. However, what I would like to say is I also think the character is being an ass.
Yeah.
And in this scene, he's like, so what did you mean when you said you could have me? And then CJ Craig just uses the concept that he may be able to have sex with her to entirely disarm this man.
Yeah.
In, I would say, 6 to 8 seconds.
It's powerful.
And I have never had more respect and honor for a woman.
I was quite frankly moved.
I was moved in many ways.
I was inspired. I was empowered.
I was also like, Alison Janney, don't touch your blouse buttons, please. Please, maybe do. I don't know. Put on the Vera Wang again. I love that it's always Charlie who has to deal with men being extremely weird.
Yes.
Mainly about women and sometimes their friends.
Would it be weird if I just walked around with a military dress saber?
The way Charlie looks at Josh, like Charlie is at his desk. He's like doing paperwork. He is the king of looking up at someone with like, it's half of it is slight disdain. And the other half of it is, do you really think I'm the person you need to be talking to?
I think the reason why I feel so connected to Charlie when he does this is because it's the way that my cat looks at me.
It's a very... Charlie Young is cat, isn't he?
He is. That makes total sense, though, because Zoe is such golden retriever. And Charlie Young is her black cat.
Yeah, because he's just like, there's a lot of like, is this my problem? I don't think so. And I'm going to sit here and listen until you work out that it's not my problem and go somewhere else. Okay?
Yeah, it's exactly the way my cat looked at me this morning from the roof, being like, so this is a problem, is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm outside. Now, there's a reason that I am, and I will come back inside, but I just want you to think about what you've done.
I, quite frankly, needed some space.
Stop grabbing me, is what I'm saying. We're all hot, okay? We go into the Oval with Josh and Jed, and we have a truly bonkers moment. Now, I loved this, and I don't really know why. Some of which have my name on them, so tell Jeff Tomlinson and Bibbidi Bob to take a deep knee bend, would you? I'm just as big a cotton candy ass as they are.
Yes, sir.
You're just going to let that hang in the air there?
Of course not, sir. You're a much bigger cotton candy ass than they are.
Damn right.
What exactly is a cotton candy ass?
It's like a coward.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. So like, it's a classic thing where like, again, it's like defense being like, and like to a degree state being like, Jed isn't a president who understands the military. He doesn't understand war. He likes books and reading and libraries. And that is true. However, it's like you can't just paint someone with that brush at the start of their first 4 years and then 4 years later expect them not to have upskilled, learnt, grown. And so I think he's just being like, look, if I'm a coward, like they're cowards too. And if they want me to be a coward, oh yeah, sure. Like I'm a big old coward.
But should we get into the angriest Donna Moss we've ever seen?
So Jack's been reassigned.
To the Alps, apparently.
To the Italian Alps. So because he did this dossier for Jed, he has been moved. And obviously she's come to Josh and been like,
do something
/ what have you had to do with this?
Yeah.
Which is
not entirely out of line because he has been being weird. And he like, did actively...
almost trying to break them up, you know what I mean?
He tried to keep her back at Christmas so she couldn't get to the Washington Inn.
Yeah.
So she's not crazy. Let's not gaslight Donna here.
No, it's a really terse moment. And then at the end she goes, thank you, sir.
Damning.
And walks away. She's never called him sir. Like, not even joking, you know? Josh kind of escapes to Charlie once more. Charlie has been looking at the seating plan for the inauguration to see where Zoe is sitting with her French boyfriend, which I think is very funny and very real.
So real.
And I enjoyed that Josh was just kind of like conspiring with Charlie and just kind of like telling him that he also didn't really like Zoe's boyfriend. Yeah. You know, we're all on the same page there.
Yeah. Neither of us like the true loves of our lives having boyfriends. We're in the same camp.
And then we kind of just like end in a very dark place in this episode.
It's so dark that I think my only response that I can possibly have in 2026 to the way this episode is just to say free Palestine.
Yeah, seconded. I don't really know where this episode is headed from here because it felt like very action. It didn't like leave me on a cliffhanger other than obviously the like ongoing events in Kundu.
It was very abrupt.
So we'll just have to wait for part 2.
I wonder how much of it is also meant to be a reflection of what was going on in the Congo both then and now in 2026 as well.
It's entirely possible, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think it makes sense that they've put a lot of the information about it in CJ's mouth as like a kind of reference to maybe how the media and news cycle moves so quickly as information comes out, but then is so quick to move on to another story and kind of move certain news events to, you know, the middle pages and take them off the front page. And I think that's why it's so interesting to have this storyline running alongside the inauguration, which would be really big news, would be information about the inauguration, would be in the first pages of every newspaper.
Yeah.
To try and show how, like, that battle for front page, should there ever be a battle when we're talking about the mass killing, the genocide of people. Really interesting. And actually, it feels actually quite good to be watching something like this 24 years, 23 years on and be like, wow, that still is so relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, disappointing, but also kind of just shows how universal this writing is about kind of enjoying seeing your favorite characters, but also taking a moment to look inward as well. Not to entirely undo the energy of that, Leigh, but would you like to talk about the quickfires and the best fashion of this episode?
Yes, I'm going to give it to CJ's Inauguration Day look.
It's very classy.
Yeah.
For me, it's Donna in the baby pink, like knitted, the tiny pearl choker, and then this like pink, very glossy lip gloss.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. What could a British or Irish politician never get away with? I have to stand with you on this one.
Having their mind meaningfully changed by a cleric of any kind.
Yeah. Just to be able to be like, yes, I'll think on that.
A queerest moment that never intended to be queer?
I think the villain man from the State Department that shouted at Will. There's something like historically camp about him.
Yes, it's like, did you want to fight with Will Bailey's dad, or did you want to be on Will Bailey's dad?
Like when someone's like, you're his son. It's like, whoa, like what went on between you guys?
Why is this so charged?
Did you have a wrestling event when you were 18? Do you know what I mean?
It's very that. For me, I think it's Josh's repeated discussion of Jack Reese's saber. That feels very queer to me. Best writerly moment?
Mine's very simple. I do very much co-sign on yours. But I loved Eat 'em Up, Chief.
Thank you, Claudia.
I just think that's lovely.
I think for me, obviously, it has to be the president is nothing if not contemplative, Senator. The man makes the Prince of Denmark seem reactionary.
To call him the Prince of Denmark as well, just like his formal title. Very fun. Man, I feel like a man.
Go to hell.
Gorgeous.
I want to use it.
Do it.
Yeah.
We'll find a reason. I have to take my hat off to you've had too many dinners with Daddy.
Yeah.
Because no one should be able to pull off Daddy.
But Toby Ziegler can. You know why that is? Because he is Daddy.
And what was the moment that made you proudest to be an American, Leigh?
Just every moment of Will Bailey just being so thorough.
Yeah. And just being like, but I must research as well.
Yeah.
I want to, if I'm going to speak with the president, I must understand the president.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I would like a shout out, honourable mensch here, just for CJ Craig using the power of her sexuality to stop someone from doing investigative reporting. Incredible. Well, that takes us to our study session, Leigh. What are we going to discuss this week?
So we are going to get into some fascinating territory today because we are going to, in the spirit of the battle between the West Wing and State, we are going to get into one of the most fascinating Secretaries of State, in my mind, to have had the role, which is Ms. Condoleezza Rice.
Yes. Oh, please, because I feel like I don't know truly really anything about Condoleezza Rice. I'm so sorry. But she is referenced in pop culture so regularly. So I am sat.
Amazing. So Condoleezza was born on the 14th of November, 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama. Some would say a spicy time and place to be born as a little black baby girl.
Yes.
As Paul Harris Summarized in The Guardian, Condoleezza Rice grew up in the segregated deep south of Alabama, where her hometown of Birmingham, not Birmingham, that's in the West Midlands, was marred by racial violence and dubbed Bombingham. But Rice's family did not embrace the civil rights movement in the way many other Southern blacks did. They came from a different tradition that held that simple hard work, discipline, and education would bring the American dream to Black America. So thank you, Paul Harris, for putting us in a place, in a time. But yes, she comes from a middle-class family. Her dad was a school guidance counselor and a part-time minister. Her mum was also a teacher. And she really is like a wonder kid, only child of slightly older parents. She like has the most rigorous schedule growing up ever. She does piano lessons, flute. She's fluent in French. She skips not 1, but 2 grades.
Ooh. That's impressive, but it also, I now know who this girl is.
Potentially isolating, because you're around kids 2 years older than you, which, depending on how young you are, is like intense.
Because you skipped a grade.
I did, accidentally, not on purpose, but yeah.
She still thrived. She thrived.
So yeah, her parents basically were much more focused on like Black excellence as a way of advancing in society rather than really partaking in like the civil rights movement. She actually knew the girls who died in the bombing at the 16th Baptist Church.
Wow.
But she's quoted as saying of her own upbringing, "My parents had me absolutely convinced that you may not be able to have a hamburger at Woolworths, but you can be president of the United States." She said, "You were told in segregated Birmingham that if you ran twice as hard, you might get half as far. And there were also people willing to run 4 times as hard so that they could stay abreast. And once in a while, somebody was willing to run 8 times as hard so that they could get ahead." She later moved to Colorado, enrolled in the University of Denver at the age of 15.
Oh my God.
Dated a future Denver Bronco. It's not relevant, but I just find it fun. And she graduated with her bachelor's degree at 19 years old.
That's a real flex.
And unusually because she was kind of part of the first wave, the first like generation of true like Black academics in American universities. And unusually amongst that cohort, she had a focus on studying the Soviet Union.
That's interesting.
Yeah. In 1981, she's appointed a professor at Harvard. She won awards for her teaching. At 38, she became one of the youngest provosts of Stanford University ever. And she was also the first woman and the first African American to serve as the chief academic officer at Stanford.
Wow.
She first kind of entered politics working at the State Department in the Carter administration, which is famously a Democratic administration. But then she served on the National Security Council staff under George Bush Sr. And she befriends his young son, George W., on like a personal level.
Okay.
Now, here is where I put forward my theory about Condoleezza Rice. You know how you collect broken and lost men?
Yes, I do.
I think that's who George W. Bush was to Condoleezza Rice. I think Condoleezza Rice feels about George W. the way you feel about your kind of cohort of slightly broken men.
Yes. Like, she's like, do you know what? If we kind of get the right attitude in this guy and we dust him off, there's a good man in there. Do you think she sees him as a project, or if she's just like, oh, what a guy. Well, I'm going to keep him around because I like him.
I don't want to reduce a powerful woman to this, but I'm like, do you want to mother him? Do you want to be his sister? Do you want to be with him? I don't know, but there's an intensity to this that speaks beyond the platonic, but not necessarily the romantic. But whatever it is, it's intense.
She's latching on.
We'll get into it. But essentially, she then becomes the United States National Security Advisor from 2001 to 2005 in George W. Bush's first term.
Wow.
So she is essentially the Nancy of the George W. Bush administration.
Right. Okay.
Take 1. She went on to write a book about this called No Higher Honor, in which she kind of obviously recounts the immediate aftermath of 9/11 because she was in that job at that time. And in the New York Times review of her book, they say the book's few vivid scenes are largely of those early fearful days. Rice looking at herself in the mirror and asking what she had missed before 9/11, or waiting to see if top officials had been exposed to deadly botulism. I was shaken to my core, she writes. She also says in the book that the only time she raised her voice at George W. Bush was when she was telling him it wasn't safe to return to Washington on 9/11.
Really?
Now, this is interesting because obviously she'd had a focus on the Soviet Union. I think she very much had like an academic interest more in the European foreign diplomacy. And
Cold War diplomacy.
And so, you know, in terms of finger pointing, in terms of like missing potentially crucial intelligence that could have forewarned that 9/11 was going to happen, she was the national security advisor at the time. So that I'm sure that was a huge amount to grapple with. Some say she was George W. Bush's closest advisor. She ate with the first family a lot. She spent weekends at Camp David. And throughout this time, through like early 2002, the debate about whether to go to war in Iraq is playing out in the National Security Council cabinet level meetings, which were known as the Principals Committee.
Right.
Now, the Secretary of State at this point is Colin Powell, who's a 4-star general, and he thinks that invading Iraq will be disastrous. But he also thinks that the idea is so crazy that he and the State Department kind of assume that it's just a blip of an idea that's going to go away.
Yeah.
But getting into the summer of 2002, he's watching what kind of started off as a pipe dream of the diehards in the Bush administration gain momentum. And he kind of like can't believe what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And then in August, he starts realizing that he's actually actively losing this argument.
Which must be so discombobulating when you're like, well, that thing would never become reality.
Yeah.
To then be like, oh, I'm in that reality.
Yeah. That is the world in which I am living. At the same time, Condoleezza Rice goes on a news show and says, we don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud, which is kind of a comment that goes down in history.
Yeah.
She later reflected on this by saying, it is hard for many people now, knowing what subsequently occurred, to appreciate how compelling the overall intelligence case against Saddam appeared to be. She also, at this point, made a Freudian slip and referred to Bush as my husband.
Oh no, that's like calling your teacher mum.
Yeah.
But like worse.
Yeah. She also wrote in her book, I liked him. He was funny and irreverent, but serious about policy. It's what I loved about George W. Bush as president. What was right mattered.
You know when you're like, is there, when someone's like, oh, so-and-so is my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow, I really don't even think that you're in their close circle. Do we feel we have shades of this with Condoleezza? Like, we have a special bond and George W.'s like, she's a good gal.
I think that may be what it is.
That's rough.
I don't know. I feel she was obsessed with him, but I don't know if it was on a purely like on a platonic level. I'm like obsessed with you, or if there's something more at play. But as I say, whatever it is that's going on, it's kind of intense. The NAACP around this time honors her with a President's Image Award, but the Black Columbia historian Manning Marable commented on this honor being given to Condoleezza Rice, referred to her as a leading race traitor, and the award as an accommodation to an anti-Black corporate establishment.
Ooh.
Damning. Which brings us to Monday, August 5th. Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice are both with George W. Bush for dinner in the residence. For 2 hours, Condoleezza Rice is mostly quiet, and Colin Powell does what no one else is doing at this point, which is telling Bush to his face that Iraq is not a good idea.
Yeah, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. He's famously quoted as saying, if you break it, you own it. this will become your first term.
Oh.
He said later, I told him removing Saddam is the easy part. You'll be the proud owner of 25 million Iraqis in 18 fractious provinces. Apparently they talked for 3 hours, but whatever happened, Colin Powell was not going to resign. And so ultimately he did get on board. And so his early warnings are ultimately overshadowed in history by the fact that he essentially becomes the Iraq War's most effective salesman, because he gives a speech on the 5th of November 2003 to the United Nations, making the case for the United States going to war with Iraq. And he's seen as credible by Republicans, Democrats, the media, the public, specifically because he had been someone who had previously been skeptical.
Yeah. Because like, oh, I kind of, in your head as a member of the general public, you're like, oh, well, he must have done all the reading, because if he's changed his mind, it must be because something's changed his mind, rather than just like he's relented.
Yeah. So the public gets on board, at least in the initial sense, and pretty much everything that he said at the United Nations has since been proven to be false. Now, we get into Bush's second term. Colin Powell loses his job as Secretary of State and is replaced by Condoleezza Rice, which is seen by both the people at the time and history as essentially the White House extending into the State Department, because she's so like personally close with the president, and she's now Secretary of State.
And this is coming back to the branches in a way.
I mean, the Secretary of State is a presidential appointment.
Yeah.
So
it's still going to come under executive anyway. But I feel like you want to have that distance slightly in order to be able to provide an overall view to the president, right?
In the way that like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama diverged on a lot, which I think was, productive.
Rather than hiring the person who's like, but I think you're the best. And I think you're special. Paul
Harris, writing for The Guardian in 2005 when Condoleezza Rice gets this job, said, Condoleezza Rice puts a high price on loyalty, but most valuable is certainly her own. Her unwavering devotion to President George W. Bush will reap its most glittering reward this week when she takes over the State Department, becoming the most powerful Black American woman in history and the world's best-known diplomat. Her rise to the top is a remarkable story of superhuman tenacity and single-mindedness. I also thought this was an interesting kind of portrait of who she was in the Washington scene, because Paul Harris writes, she has risen to the highest ranks of Washington by being the ultimate insider who has the ear of Bush like no other power player in the Capitol. Yet Rice has remained firmly outside the whirl of Washington life. She lives alone and rarely, if ever, socializes on the circuit.
It's like from the age of 15, she like decided what she was going to do. And it feels like it's been this really specific game of chess the whole way there. Because then there's this whole other conspiracy or argument, which is maybe she didn't care for him at all. Maybe he wasn't meaningful, but she wanted to get as far as she possibly could. That it was, that ethic that her family put in her head of you've got to keep moving faster than everyone else to prove that you're worth being there.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's so interesting. That's such an interesting depiction of someone as like their role, because you often think like to be a good political agent, you need to kind of know everyone.
Yeah.
You need to kind of be able to work the room casually.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that like Leo McGarry is sort of paced, and to a certain extent kind of like Josh and Toby too.
And the various diplomats that we've met.
Yeah, they're like, oh, if I'm at a luncheon, like I'm going to speak to this person, I'm going to speak to this person, I know this person. And then the idea that she just goes home at the end of the day, but she still maintains that power.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The final thing I'll quote from this article, I just find it so interesting the way that women are written about. And I don't know that it's always fair, but saying Rice's latest assignment is fraught with danger. She is tasked with bringing the State Department firmly in hand, stifling the barely concealed dissent that marked the tenure of Colin Powell. It will not be easy and is likely to spark the most fierce bout of Washington infighting in years. But for Bush, the job is vital. The State Department must be brought to heel. It is Rice's job to win that battle for her boss.
It's interesting. And also earlier he said, he used the word devotion, which I feel is feminine.
It's gendered for sure, yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting if we were talking about a man, right? That how that might change the language choice.
There's also some
Win
really...
it for her boss.
Yeah, there's also some really interesting discussion, both kind of contemporaneously in 2005 and also like in the reviewing of her book later, about the way that she famously had a lot of tension with both Dick Cheney and the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. And they absolutely eviscerate her in their memoirs about this time. And she makes a real point of saying that they diverged on policy, not on personality. So she's like, it's not personal, which I feel is such a thing that women have to do, of saying like, you can't call me emotional because I'm not going to come back at you the way that you came at me.
That's so true.
Yeah. I mean, she also in her book outlines a scene that I think could be like taken right out of the West Wing. Basically, like one of the few times that her and the President Bush had like spoke sharply to each other. She talks about a conversation in December 2006 about whether to send more troops into Iraq, which she was against and he was for. And apparently she recounts him as saying, so what's your plan, Condi? We'll just let them kill each other and we'll stand by and try to pick up the pieces. And she was angry about the implication that she didn't care about winning the Iraq war and retorted, if they want to have a civil war, we're going to have to let them. And then after the meeting, she follows Bush into the Oval Office and says, no one has been more committed to winning Iraq than I have. And then he just apparently kind of like conceded and said, I know. But she was also criticized around this time because Hurricane Katrina happened and there was a huge upset over the lack of aid from the Bush administration.
Yeah.
And she went on holiday to New York, went to a Broadway show and spent several thousands of dollars on a Fifth Avenue shopping spree in the midst of Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, the optics of that are real bad.
Yeah. And apparently someone else who was shopping in the store she was in went up to her and shouted, how dare you shop for shoes while thousands are dying and homeless?
Yeah, because that would happen. You know, like that's an understandable response, I think, from a member of the general public.
Yeah. There's also been a fascinating evolution in the way she's been a commencement speaker at universities several times over the years. And there's been a fascinating evolution in terms of how that has been responded to as people's views of the Iraq war have changed over time.
Yeah.
She also, when she was walking into a US congressional hearing in 2007, a Code Pink activist, Desiree Farouz, approached her with what looked like blood on her hands and shouted, war criminal. Code Pink is a feminist grassroots organization working to end US warfare and imperialism. They're going strong to this day. And in 2010, Condoleezza Rice was their war criminal of the week.
Wow, that's a fun bit.
But I think I will finish by saying that she was interviewed in 2011, again, by the New York Times. And they asked her, I've read that people consider you almost incapable of admitting a mistake. What do you consider to be the biggest of your career? To which she said, I've done pretty well. I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on the past that way.
That was her answer.
As one of the main architects of the Iraq War.
The thing is, you should know that you'll be asked that in your career and you should formulate a response.
Especially when you're actively doing a book tour, which she was at the time, about her time as the Secretary of State.
What an interesting person.
Such an interesting person. She's also praised Donald Trump for bombing Iran recently in 2025 on Fox News's special report. She said it was a shot in the arm for American credibility after, quote, a disastrous presidency from Joe Biden. What's happened in the last couple of days is very, very good for American credibility. But Trump doesn't want her support because he doesn't want to be associated with the regime change wars of the Bush administration.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be associated with it. So I think she's a fascinating figure. I mean, she achieved so much to get where she did from where she came from, and especially being of the generation that she was, being born into the civil rights movement. But also, she clearly is not ready to accept that she did anything wrong in a career that ultimately included an unjustified war.
Yeah. I'm reeling at the response to that question. You'd just think, even if she didn't say it, even if she couldn't bring herself to say it, that she would have a prepared statement of some kind, something in the back pocket. Oh, good,
a complicated
study
woman.
Sesh. Yeah.
But shall we come back next week and do this again?
I think we should come back for Inauguration Part 2.
Gorgeous. We're Queer Gals Watch, wherever you get your socials. queergalswatch@gmail.com. If you want to send us a little study session request or just let us know like how and where you listen, we love that as well. Queer Gals Watch on Patreon. And we'll see you this time next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.